Hello everybody, my name is Sophie and welcome back to another video. We have gathered here today to address the elephant in the room. My Kindle is fittingly already displaying it for me. Lightlark recommending it to me. It knows me so well. I have read the Lightlark sequel, guys. Did anyone know this existed? Anyone? I was posting on Goodreads while I was reading it, posting updates on how far in I was, and under every single post, another person commented, I didn't even know this came out. It released on the same day as the Fourth Wing sequel, Iron Flame, which I also reviewed, guys, if you haven't watched that yet. And so nobody gave a fuck about Nightbane, including me. I only knew it was coming out because Alex Esther is actually my arch nemesis. Self-declared. This is very much one-sided beef that I have with this woman just because she gets on my nerves. I've done a review on Lightlark when it came out, when it was so hyped up on TikTok. I'll link it. And then I did a podcast episode about Alex Esther specifically and talking about how she came to be an author because everybody keeps pointing out her books are ass. How did this happen? So my review on Goodreads was, she's my least favorite Nepo baby. Her parents are rich. Her sister is in the publishing industry somehow involved. If you want to know more about it, go watch my podcast episode on her because if I'm being honest, like I don't really remember. I just remember I don't like her. And the worst part is she keeps showing up on my For You page on TikTok. She keeps fucking showing up. I cannot escape this woman. And so I've taken my time, thought about it a little more. Didn't think about this book at all after I finished it, if I'm being honest. Today's actually the 12th day of Bookmas. I was doing Bookmas for the last 11 days, uploading every day. And there's a playlist on my channel. You can watch those videos if you're bored. And this is the last day of Bookmas, and I thought what better way to end it with than a proper review and a proper rant about the book that I fucking hated. There's going to be timestamps in the description box for when the rant starts because I want to talk about some other things that I thought were funny about this whole situation beforehand, but if you just want to hear the rant, you can skip forward. That's no shade. I of course want to thank my members. My members get my videos a day early, they get a shout out in my video, and they also get access to exclusive content such as my Ruby Red movie commentary. With Bookmas everything was a little bit different because I would have to film the same day and upload and I was just all over the place. But now we're back to regular schmegular content after this, don't worry. My members are Haley B, Ashley Ranger B, Mrs. Preminger, Trinity ELW, Clara S, Kushimita, Deja, Book Banshee, Queen Civ, Courtney, Lacey Lace EDC, Asteria, and Haley Charles. This video is specially dedicated to Ashley, my member Ashley Ranger. She said she's super excited for this review, and so this is for you, girlie. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know if you knew this was a thing. I want to talk about the fact that Alex S and I, we had contact. We made contact. I mentioned this before, I think in my Q&A during Bookmas, but... or did I? Maybe I cut it out. I don't remember. It's been a whirlwind of videos. Alex Esther posted a video on her TikTok, as she does. This woman cannot stop posting and reminding you that her book is being made into a movie by the producers of Twilight. With peace and love, you know? I don't wish anything bad on this woman, and I also don't mean, well, I kind of mean this, I'm kind of being disrespectful. But if you're someone who likes Lightlark and Nightbane and you love her books, then that's great for you. This is not an attack on you at all. I don't mean this. Oh wait, maybe I should say that when I talk about Rant, but I'm just gonna say it now. I don't mean this negatively. People can enjoy whatever they want, and I like things that you probably don't like. Please don't feel attacked if you like a book that I don't like, okay? This is like just for fun. That being said, I do have beef with Alex. She posted a video where there was a filter that was like the trope that describes you best, and so it was her just standing in a field and doing that filter, and of course it said enemies to lovers. And then I was feeling a little bit petty and I commented underneath and I said, girlie, how many tries did it take for you to get enemies to lovers so you could promote your fucking fuck-ass book? I didn't say it like that, but kinda like that. And she replied! She replied to me, she said, it was the second try. I was like, okay, girl. We love an honest girlie. Doesn't change the fact that I'm at war with her. And nobody knew this book was coming out. I, of course, was following it closely. She's still trying the same kind of marketing methods that you remember from Lightlark. And if you don't remember, go watch the video. I talk about it there. But she's still doing the same shtick. And my favorite video of hers, which is a great segue to what we're going to talk about next, is where she's sitting on a chair and she captioned it like, finding out that my book made the New York Times bestseller list, or is a New York Times bestseller. The music is very loud, you can't hear what she's saying, and she just goes, oh my god! know why she keeps filming like her reactions to things, because she's very awkward on camera. It's like something I notice like again and again. You would think after posting so many videos of yourself in like the bookstore and doing these types of videos, you would get a little bit more the hang of it. But she's so awkward. And it's like, girl, like maybe you should do a different thing if you're not feeling comfortable. So of course, congrats if that's true. Whether it's true or not, of course, is a question that I asked myself. Now, the New York Times bestseller list is a mystery to me. I know that there's very strict rules around it. I know that it's really weird, but I also don't care enough to research it like excessively to understand it. So I'm just gonna take her word for it, okay? But I did follow the Goodreads ratings since pre-release up until yesterday. I was keeping a little eye on it just because I knew I was gonna make this review, and I found it really funny because of course everybody was excited for Iron Flame. Nobody gives a fuck about Alex Astor. Who the fuck even is that? Oh, Alex Astor, the singer? Because as you remember, she had a music career at some point. She should like write songs for her books. You know, that's a good idea. Don't steal that idea. I came up with that. On the 5th of November, this book released on the 7th, okay? This book was at 277 ratings, which for pre-release is a little silly because I deleted the fucking Fourth Wing picture, but I did screenshot it and that one had like thousands of ratings pre-release. So the interest before the book came out wasn't really there. Then, 3 days after release, I was in my delirium with Fourth Wing, reading Iron Flame. I can't fucking remember the name. Iron Flame, what am I saying? I'm so over that, you know, guys. I'm so happy, like, when I don't have to see that anymore, but it's just like, I can't escape it. I get so many videos about it to this day on my TikTok. I feel like I should block the words or something. Anyway, 3 days after release, I thought, let's check how many people read Nightbane and rated it, right? Guys, it went from 277 to 493. Again, I deleted the Iron Flame ones. I wish I would have kept them to compare them to. Nobody gave a fuck about this book. Then, 4 days later on the 14th, so 1 week after release, I checked again. 1,061 ratings. A little bit more. At least 1,000 people read it. It doesn't stop there, guys, don't worry. On the 22nd of November, the day I finished the book, it had 2,382 ratings. So take a little guess how many ratings it has now. It has, as of yesterday, 5,296 ratings with a 4.0 average. So how does that work that her book is on a New York Times bestseller list? I know, of course, not everybody who reads their books is tracking it on Goodreads, and I don't know what the variant is there. I'm sure there's like an average that you can estimate how many people read it and don't rate it or don't use Goodreads. But nobody's reading this book. Nobody read this. And the consensus is also negative. I haven't seen anyone talk any good. She's choking me. I haven't seen anyone say anything good about this as of today, including me. And then, guys, everything started making sense. I was on someone's Instagram, I think Ellie Hazelwood. I read Check It Mate, which I didn't like either. The review for that is also coming out probably before Christmas. You know what I saw? I saw her post that said, "We're doing a virtual event to celebrate Nightbane and Check It Mate." I obviously missed this very sadly because it was in October. I didn't know this was happening. I didn't see anyone talk about it. They released on the same day, but I also have beef with Ellie Hazel. I have beef with everyone, if I'm being honest. Like my teachers, my parents, you wanna fight? I'm just kidding. I only have beef with Colleen Hoover, fuck her. Alex Astor, not necessarily fuck her, just like, it's just a little silly joke. And Ellie Hazelwood, because, I don't know, that woman also just gets on my nerves. So my two arch nemesis collided and did an event together. And if Colleen Hoover joined in, honestly, the apocalypse would start. What else is there to say before we talk about the review? Nightbane has 384 pages, so under 400. It's very short compared to Iron Flame. I have to use Iron Flame as an example because they are, I would say, I don't know if I'm leaning out of the window saying this. They were equally as hyped, the first books, maybe, because, or there was equally enough, or maybe not, actually. I don't know. I don't want to just make claims. People were hyped for Lightlark because there was drama around it, because she was making promises about the book that they didn't include, or weren't included in the book, I mean. Fourth Wing was just hyped because people started reading it and everyone was talking about it then. But the sequel was released on the same day, and those were both hyped TikTok books. And then Nightbane comes out and nobody gives a fuck. I think it's really funny. Of course, I hope Alex Esther is doing great. I wish no harm towards her. This is just a joke that I have beef with her, but if I did meet her on the street. That being said, I haven't even shown you guys the cover, but I am matching the cover today. I wanted to do blue eyeshadow, and I have one blue eyeshadow palette from the drugstore, and it has just no pigment at all. I did have to pay 12 euros for Nightbane on my Kindle. So please watch all of the ads so I can make those 12 euros back. If you want to see my reactions to reading the book, because usually I make reading vlogs, I didn't make one for this one. You will find out when we talk about the book why. But if you want to see the reactions that I started filming at the beginning of the book, in my first Bookmas video, I included those clips of the reading vlog that I did up until like that point and how I finished it and everything. Also, actually, one more thing before we talk about the Rant. I was unable to find this book in the store for a month. I went to the bookstore every single week because that's just what I do. I have the time. So what? It's a little treat for me. And every single time I was looking for Nightbane, I was like, at least one copy has to exist here. And it didn't. There was nothing ever. And I went to 2 or 3 different bookstores. Nothing. And then on one fateful day, I don't even know when it was, the 2nd of December, so almost a month after release, I was in the bookstore that I always go to in my boyfriend's city, and that's like an actual city. The one that I go to is a small store. They have like Iron Flame and everything, but I didn't have Nightbane. They don't really have that shit. And I looked up at the top shelf, and what did I see? Nightbane! Only the hardcover, interestingly enough, and I turned it around to read the blurb, because obviously if I want to buy a book, I want to read the blurb. And all that was on the fucking back was praise for Lightlark. That makes me so mad. I fucking hate praise, okay? I do not get it. I get why they're doing it. I get it, okay? That was a lie, I get it. But I don't think it's necessary. And you know how much it cost? 18 euros. 18 euros for this fuck-ass hardcover. This flimsy-ass fuck-ass hardcover. They want me to pay 18 fucking euros for that. And it only has praise for the Lightlark saga on the back. And of course, 2 of her best friends, Chloe Gong and Adam Silvera. No, actually, Adam Silvera, is that her best friend? Or am I confusing him with someone else? I don't fucking know, but Chloe Gong, definitely her best friend, of course, is the first person to give praise, which I don't understand because literally Marie Lu and Saba Tahir gave praise for this book, who I think are more well established in the book industry than someone like Chloe Gong, but no, she put her in the top. What the fuck am I supposed to take away from the fucking praise on the back? I wanna know what the fuck is this book about? Why is it on the fucking back? Let's just see what Chloe Gong had to say about her best friend's book, because obviously that's not biased. Fantasy that reads like a breath of fresh air, filled with secrets aplenty and enthralling magic. Lightlark will have you gasping, then swooning. I gasped because I was so shook that after publishing that first fuck-ass book of hers, she published this and it was even fucking worse. Also, Marie Lu, I will never read another one of your fucking books. I can't trust you anymore. And Saba, peace and love, you know, I loved Elias Victorious from Emma and the Ashes, but I don't think that I can trust you either. And Adam Silvera, I've never read any of your fucking books anyway, and I won't start now. He even compares this to the fucking Hunger Games. And my, I think, text in this thumbnail for the first review is an insult to the Hunger Games. And he has the audacity. He has the audacity to still... Fuck off, Adam. Adam, if I see you in the fucking street, I'm walking the other way because I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't know, guys. Sorry. That was a little bit dramatic. Let's talk about the book. What is Nightbane about? Nightbane picks up very closely to the end of Lightlark. If you don't remember what Lightlark was about, I don't either. I do, of course, because I have her fucking TikToks on my For You page the entire time where she says that 5, I don't know how many rulers, actually 5 or 6 or 7, have to fight in a deathly game to break their ancient curses, and only one can win. And there's a dude. And it's made into a movie by the producers of Twilight. Don't forget that. You always have to mention that at the end. And I mean this with peace and love. I don't think I finished my thought earlier. So many books get bought and then not adapted. And I think if they see how little people cared for Nightbane, I don't think they're gonna make it into a movie anymore. And I mean that with peace and love. Like, I would love that for her if that happened. That's a dream of any author, I think. But I don't think it's realistic anymore. And also, my phone autocorrected the title of my note to Nightmare instead of Nightbane, so that was what I was experiencing while reading this. We pick up after the end of Lightlark. We're very close to the end of Lightlark where Isla found the egg off the island. It's a Yoki thing, as there were no, I don't think there were any egg comparisons, maybe one, but I don't really remember. There was another nemesis in this book that we will talk about when it comes up, like a line that she mentioned excessively. She is now with the king of Lightlark, Oro, who she didn't even know she was in love with. And in the beginning of the book also, we always get the line, is this, oh no, was this love? Is this love? Is this what love feels like? Because she's very confused after the end of the events of the first book. She was the one to break the curses. She killed her friend who was the evil woman, and she is not with the hot Reese knockoff from Wish. She is with the boring blonde man. I don't know if he's blonde actually, I just know he's boring as fuck. I will be referring to him as Oreo as per usual, because what the fuck kind of name is Oro? Peace and love if that's your name, you know, then it slays. We start off with her going to the Wildling Island, because as we remember, there's different realms, and she is a Wildling, and she didn't have access to her power because she's both Wildling and Nightshade, because her parents had sex and then she came out, bitch. I don't fucking know. She now goes to the part of Lightlark that has, like, again, I don't really get this whole concept of this world. A realm on Lightlark for every, or a part of Lightlark for every realm, except for Nightshade. And there's also one for Wildling, but it's deserted. And so she visits it now because there's a palace on there and there's a bunker in the fucking basement. And she wants to open it now that she's the ruler, the official ruler, and she saved everyone from the curses or whatever. She's like, I'm gonna open that bitch up. She didn't know, but one thing was clear. As soon as she had opened that door, something had slammed it closed again. Something was in that room and it didn't want Isla to find it. I would just blow the room up. That's the essence of the entire book. She wants to open that door, but she's unable to, even though she's the ruler and she has the Wildling abilities now and she's learning to use them and she has the crown and everything. She's like, what else do you fucking want from me? In the beginning, she also wants us to remember what happened in the first book, because obviously everybody forgot, including me. So I was a little thankful for this, but she does it very clumsily. She doesn't really, I think that Alex Esther just doesn't, okay. Should we talk about that now? We'll talk about it in a second. Let me read this out first. This is a little recap. When Isla killed Aurora, she had used an ancient relic called the Bondmaker to steal all the Starling's power. The action served as a loophole to fulfill the part of the prophecy that stated a ruler had to die to break the curses. A ruler's power functioned as the life force of their people. All Starlings could have died along with Aurora if Isla hadn't stolen that power. I didn't remember that she stole her power. She's now the ruler of the Starlings also, so she's the ruler of the Wildlings, of the Starlings, and she's also part Nightshade, and she has 3 abilities now. As we remember, Oro is the avatar. He has all of the abilities. Isla just has 3 because she's the main character. And as we remember, Mrs. Astor wrote her first book, the Lightlark, the Lightlark, when she was 15 years old or something, or 12, I don't remember, you know, what does it matter? It does matter actually, because yesterday I uploaded my fanfiction, my Harry Styles fanfiction, reading it out to you, that I wrote when I was 12, and that's better than this. So, let's have a write-off or something. This is very, like, how do you say, like, very clumsy expose, like, on the page, nothing, whatever. We'll talk about it. Also, I do not feel the relationship between her and Oreo at all. I mentioned that in the first book, I always thought that he was a grown man in his 40s. He is ancient. He's immortal. I think he's like 200 years old. What did I just say, guys? I forgot what I just said. Wait, I wanted to say something else, but what did I just say? What were we talking about? Let's move on, because we're getting to the nitty-gritty already. And again, this is a short book, so there shouldn't be that much to say, and this shouldn't be so long. But there's another reason this shouldn't be so long, okay? Because I also don't want to repeat myself the entire time, because the main criticism that I have is something that stretches throughout the entire book, and I don't think that I have to mention it every single time. But I'm just gonna read it out to you, and you're gonna tell me if there's any issue with the sentence. A special drink was prepared. A Sunling specialty. What the fuck do you mean using special in a sentence twice? Even if special and specialty is not the same word, why the fuck did you fucking... Maybe every time I want to scream, I'm just gonna whisper, you know? Calm my nerves. What is this? The writing was the most infuriating part of this. There is no description of anything. The description that she makes, and I say that in the reading vlog also, so if you've watched that, you've heard me say it before. It's very clinical. It's not full of life. It's lacking of life. She seems to not be able to picture anything in her head, and this is actually facts. She makes it a whole point on TikTok to say, when you're an author who can't picture anything in their head when they're reading, well, also when you're writing, bitch, we can fucking tell. Why the fuck do you want to become a fucking author if you cannot picture anything in your fucking head? Pull up a fucking, or, you know, I think this is actually what she did. She pulled up pictures of things, like a dress. She googled dress, pulled up a picture. Oh, I have to whisper, I don't want to scream. Pulled up a picture, and then just described the fucking dress. It's blue. It reaches the floor. It has long sleeves. That is how she fucking writes. And it didn't change. The first book was already like this, and in this one it was even more evident because she kept fucking doing it. And so the writing was not fun at all. There's like no prose. It's not exciting to read. You feel like you're reading a textbook. Straight up. Textbook, because it doesn't feel like she doesn't use any fucking adjectives. It's just so bland, really. And I don't know, I think under my reading vlog, one person agreed with me. The one person out of the 5,000 others that read this book, you know, you don't have to agree with me. Obviously, no one fucking read this, so you wouldn't know. The sentences are so short and bad, and it's so embarrassing. Like, if I were her editor, how could I tell her that she needs to use adjectives? I would have a conversation with her and be like, girlie, I don't even know what I would say, I'm speechless. I was just so confused by this entire book. It didn't feel thought out, and it did take a year to get published, so, you know, the first book you could have kind of excused with saying, oh, she wrote it when she was 15, she's been trying to get it published since, was unsuccessful, understandably so, because it's bad, but she finally managed it, and so she really wanted to stick to those elements that she had already been working on since she was 15 or when she was 15. But with this book, I don't know if she also wrote this when she was 15, probably not. You're just not good at writing. If you're wondering about the plot, she is now at the coronation of something, I think her starling, or whatever. She's at the coronation of, I think it's her starling power, the one that she stole. Some random monsters start attacking her and everyone and kill a bunch of people. She then touches one of the monsters' heads and they fly away. And immediately everyone's like, this has to be an attack from Grimm, the hot evil race. There's no other way. These monsters come from his island. They're leaving and flying towards his island. He sent them because he wants Isla. He wants her back because they used to be in love. And then he deleted all of her memories. Keep this in mind. And then they fell in love again during Lightlark. And then he revealed to her, oh, we were already in love. I deleted all of your fucking memories. And she was really mad at him. And then fell in love with the 40-year-old man, Oro. He feels like a 40-year-old man. It's very hard for me to imagine whenever they're like, when they start fucking, that he's her age. Which he isn't. But he just feels so much more mature than Isla, and Grimm just doesn't. He's a little bit silly. They imagine that he's now attacking the island, or planning to attack the island in the next 30 days or something. So they start prepping in 30 days to defend the island against an attack from the evil night people, because everyone who's in the night is evil. You know, vampires and stuff. Ooh, scary. And I'm gonna read out another scene for you guys, because this is something else that really fucking bothered me. Oro had found Isla shaking and raw-skinned. He had looked like he wanted to bring the entire island down. The very ground beneath their feet had shaken as he... I can't say it. As he had said very calmly, "Who did this to you?" There's two instances in this book where, well, one time it's him, and the other time it's the other love interest, where both of them say, "Who did this to you?" There's other scenes that, if you pay close attention, or not even close, if you just read, you will notice that they are very reminiscent of tropes that people will point out on TikTok, where they will say, oh my god, when he says, "Who did this to you?" or when he says, "I will murder everyone who did this to you," or he actually does, which one of the dudes does. I'm very sure that this is the case. Like, I'm speculating, of course, alleging, but I'm very sure. Alex Esther wrote down tropes that she wanted in her book, like certain things that she definitely wanted to happen, like this with the "Who did this to you?" because she knows people go get crazy for it, and she can advertise it. She can say, oh, when she gets attacked and then he says, "Who did this to you?" And so she didn't just include it once, but twice. It feels like in between those scenes, you're just trying to fill the void. She's not you. You're not writing this, thankfully. You're better than this. She's just trying to fill the void with meaningless shit, just so she can reach a scene that she really wanted to write again. And it's just very evident. Because of course, as an author, you're gonna write some scenes that you like better and some scenes that you think are a little bit more boring maybe because you just need to fill up space and do like, I don't know, how do you say, you know, I'm not an author. But I think my point comes across. You can imagine what I'm what I'm trying to say. And with Alex, it's just very clear what those scenes were. And that she's just kind of like, she had an outline and she's just kind of dangling from one TikTok hit to another TikTok hit scene. And also whenever she's advertising this book, she keeps saying, can't wait for you guys to read the ending. The ending is so amazing, you're gonna freak out. And it's like, okay, do you not want me to read the rest of the book? Is the rest of the book not good? It's not, and neither is the ending, queen. It's just so infuriating, and I don't know, with everything that's gone on with her in the past, it's just disappointing. My favorite, however, is the fact that Isla, and this is my favorite line that happens in this book, and anyone out of the 5,000 people that have read this book, if any of you are in the comments, you can tell me how you experienced this, but Isla straight up falls to her knees 5 different times. The line, she falls to her knees, is in the book 5 times. Now I'm leading myself out of the window yet again. That's like my favorite thing to say at the moment. Maybe it's only 4 times. It's definitely 3. The only way that I know falling to my knees is from the meme where people are like, I just fell to my knees at Walmart. And so that's everything. That's just the only thing I had to think of whenever I read that. This bitch cannot stop falling to her knees. She must be having fucking knee problems at this point. Something I haven't mentioned yet, because who cares? The book is divided into 2 kind of timelines. You have the present, where they're preparing for war, which is really fucking boring because they're just having conversations. And the other scenes, and by the way, these chapters have titles. So the way you know that it's a past thing is it's called Before. Every past chapter is called Before, and it's just her recovering her memories from Grimm that he deleted. With her awakening her nightshade powers, she's remembering everything that has happened to her and between them. And so you're getting their love story while at the same time in the present she's with Oro and she feels really guilty that she like has memories of making out with Grimm and fucking him, and she still wants to fuck Oro. And that's like the main conflict. Another amazing line that Alex Esther provides us with is, he had relatively long black hair like spilled ink. Relatively long. How long? Would it hurt to give a specific, like, he had relatively long black hair like spilled ink? And at some point she also says that Oro is adorable, which is of course what every man wants to hear their significant other call them. Adorable is a word that you use for a child. A grown person is never adorable, in my opinion. Adorable, that could be like a child, an animal, a puppy. But your boyfriend or the king is adorable? Just call him sexy. Remember that this book was published in November of 2023 when I read out this line to you. And the dresses, the ones with all the ties and buttons hell-bent on not letting her breathe. Each stitch and clip of her corset was conspiring together to suffocate her. She was sure of it. Of course, she cannot breathe in her dress because that is something that we also need in a fantasy book. If you read a fantasy book and the main character doesn't complain about wearing dresses, sorry? Are you even reading fantasy? She's responsible for the Starlings, as I mentioned, because she took the powers of their ruler. And for some reason, after the attack, the king of Lightlark, because they are still living on Lightlark, regardless of her being the ruler, they're still on his fucking property, basically. Since she hadn't been able to visit the Starlings after the coronation, Isla asked Oro to station guards at the Star Isle Bridge to prevent the attacks and to provide any immediate assistance they might require. So this is not something that you thought of immediately after this attack. I'm sorry. Like, the attack happened and you were like, well, fucking sucks for you guys. I'm just gonna go back to the castle and like take a little warm bath. You probably don't even have hot running fucking water. Very odd that the king of the island didn't think of that, in my opinion. And that she had to come to him after the coronation, after time has passed already, after the coronation, and ask him whatever. Oh my god, I lied. I don't even know when the fucking attack is supposed to happen, but they had worked together for weeks. She was still far from a master. She felt in control enough that she wouldn't be a danger. It had been too long since she had visited her people. She needed to make sure they were taken care of. Then she needed to start prepping for the inevitability, that was right, I don't know why I'm repeating myself, that Grimm was coming for her. He had likely orchestrated the drag attack. Based on fucking what? They just assume this because dark man evil. And she also doesn't give a fuck about her wildling people, but she does go back to visit them now after not being there for fucking ever. And when she was a child and raised on the island, she also didn't give a fuck about her people because she wasn't allowed to, because she had guardians that kept her away from the people. She's now rediscovering her abilities, as I mentioned, her wildling power and her nightshade power, but mostly her wildling power. She jumped into the air, hand outstretched, and a vine soared to meet it. She swung, careening through the forest, landing in a tree. She didn't stop. She kept running. This bitch is turning into fucking Tarzan now. I mean, I love this book. At one point during the book, she also gets a animal companion because we need one. Apparently all wildlings have an animal companion, and she has to go into the forest with a fucking arrow and shoot the animal, and then it accepts her, because if it lets her shoot him, then that means it accepts her, because otherwise she wouldn't be able to shoot it. Very Avatar reminiscent of the fucking, I don't know what they're called, the flying things, where they're like, if it tries to kill you, it's yours. Guys, I had an Avatar face. Did I ever tell you guys about the fact that when I was 12 years old, I made my parents buy me a fucking skin tight Avatar suit that I put like the blue avatars. Put that on and I went out on Halloween with that, and I had the wig. Which, in retrospect, I think is cultural appropriation, but actually I was 10. Didn't it come out in 2009? That makes it even worse. She gets an animal companion, of course, and it's her mom's leopard, and the special thing about it is it's not just a normal leopard, it's like super fucking big. It's like, Clifford, the big red dog or something. That's how I imagine it to look. And it doesn't really like her. It's just kind of doing it because it loves her mom, and no one really likes Isla, and neither do I. And I also don't like the author. Oro actually really wants to fuck Isla. She's been kind of unsure about this because he doesn't really give her any signals. They haven't even kissed yet, even though they are basically together. And so she's like, I'm sorry. I just like feel like you don't really love me, like I don't want to assume anything, are you even attracted to me, like if not then that's fine, like there's different ways of love and blah blah blah. And then he goes, attracted does not begin to describe what I feel for you, and she's just super horny. But he doesn't want to fuck her because he's a respectful man and she's depressed, and so he's like, if you're depressed, I don't fuck with depressed bitches. You have to get on antidepressants, or otherwise this is not gonna work. But after this conversation, she moves into his room and he moves out of the room because she keeps having visions about the past, about Grimm, and she also keeps seeing him everywhere, which I don't even know if that means he's actually there or if it's just her imagining things. I don't know if that gets cleared up. And so she's like, can I please just come into your room, because I feel like I have no connection to him in your room, but in mine, because I fucked him in there, so that will probably help me. And then he's like, yeah, okay, but I'm gonna move out of it, so you're by yourself because I'm respectful. We're in a fantasy, we want the disrespectful man. After this, she doesn't have any nightmares anymore, and she starts slaying with her abilities and everything. Oh my god, I just looked in the mirror. I look like a fucking clown with this fucking eyeshadow. Whatever. Whatever, we're 40 minutes in, I can't change it now. I don't even know yet how I'm gonna look by the end of this video. But if you're new here, by the end, everything always gets deranged. I don't look like this by the end of the video, I can promise you that. Oh my god, yes, I remember this. This is so silly, maybe just because I feel zero connection to any of these characters. A 20-foot vine, he said, and she made it hang from a tree, so long it wrapped in spirals on the ground. Her lips twitched. What? He asked, voice flat. A. She couldn't say the words before bursting into laughter, and it really wasn't that funny. Truly, it wasn't funny at all. But as she didn't know how long it had been since she had truly laughed, a week had gone by without any memories. She felt lighter, freer. What is it, wildling? He said. She laughed silently, shoulders shaking. A golden blade of grass! What was a joke? I don't know why this was the situation she started laughing in, like, because nothing funny happened. I think she was kind of trying to go for like a Starfall Reese moment with him, where he finally makes her smile and laugh, but didn't get it, guys. I didn't get it. Aro, I love you? Oh, I didn't remember that she said that. Aro, I love you. Say it again, he said. I missed it. You did not, she said, laughing. Then she took a step closer to him. I love you. I don't think he says it back. Does he say it back? No, they just start making out at this point, and then they almost fuck, but then they don't because she's still depressed. And she, as I said, she doesn't fuck with depressed bitches. Here's another attack, and then they visit the Oracle, and the Oracle says, you have to save Lightlark. Come back to me when you're alone and not with him, so I can tell you the true prophecy. And then she comes back to the Oracle like literally last minute because she forgot about it. She was busy. I don't fuck with oracles in books because it's just a cheap trope. Like, they never tell you anything useful anyway. Ugh. His hand slid slowly down his face, then curved to the back of his neck. He groaned. His voice was dark as midnight as he said, "Don't you dare. Don't you dare wear anything else." She had never heard him so possessive before. It made the bottom of her spine curl. Made her think about them and the bed. She's wearing his t-shirt to bed. And so, of course, he says, don't you dare wear anything else. Because this is so hot. But that being said, this is another thing where it's like, oh my god, she's wearing his clothes to bed. They're way too big. They smell like him. He thinks it's super hot. And then they visit the Oracle. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Maybe. I don't really know. Starting at 36%, that is when they get the warning about being attacked in a month. So up to 36%, you just kind of had her and Oro building a bond, which no one was feeling the vibe of. And also her discovering her powers. Consider this a warning, it said. A glimpse at the future. You have 1 month to vacate the island. In 30 days, I am coming. Period. I am coming to destroy it. Nothing will be left. You can choose to flee to your new lands or join me in a new future. The choice is simple. Fighting is futile. The ruin coming is unavailable. Seems a little bit dramatic in my opinion. Did he have to do all that? No comment on that one. Guys. I remember. This fuck ass. She looked for flesh and... gulp. Found it rather quickly. I just feel like you can't fucking write that in your fucking fantasy book. Especially because she never does it anywhere else. This is the only time she says gulp. Oh. I'm like in physical pain reading this. Yes, it's been hundreds of years since war. You can portal anywhere with half a thought. Why keep it up with your ... fitness regimes? Why ... when you have so much ability? She's asking him why he has a six-pack when he could just kill everybody with his magical power. That's only a question a dumbass could ask. You want him to be a fatty or what? Then you wouldn't think he's hot anymore. I also wrote down that the lack of fancy names in a fantasy is truly astonishing, and I don't remember what I meant by that. I think maybe either the people or the objects or the places just had very like standard names. In a fantasy, you usually expect them to be a little bit more difficult for the authors to make shit up. And we do know that she, for example, calls her portaling device a star stick, which isn't very creative. She has the sunlings, the wildlings, the starlings, and it's also not very fancy. There's also friends that get introduced from the realm, like there's more side characters, and I think they have like really normal names too, but I don't remember. I didn't really care for them. No, he said against her parted lips, you're not something special to me. You're not something I want to love. You are something I want to ruin. The plot in the past is they're looking for a magical sword, and this sword, I don't remember what it does. I think it controls the monsters that keep attacking the island. And in the past, Grimm was already looking for it to control it, but there's a curse on it that no Nightshade ruler will ever be able to find it. It's like hiding from Nightshade rulers. So he needs Isla to find it for him. So he can control the beasts because they're also not just attacking Lightlark. They're underneath Lightlark somehow. They're also attacking his lands. They're out of control and he needs this fucking sword to control them because they're killing all his fucking people. And in the present, they're preparing for war, but it's just like them talking to different people and being like, will you join our fight? And then people are like, no. And she's like, can you think about it? And they're like, I guess. Then we get another Who Did This To You scene, this time of course by Grimm, because who the fuck gives a fuck about Oro? Grimm's voice was lethally calm as he said, which one? Isla, he said carefully, like he was trying very hard to keep all of himself reined in. He had used her first name. Which one did this to you? Fine, he said, all of them then, and then he just kills a bunch of mean men. Isla has been feeling like she can't access enough of her power and it's taking too long for her to master it. So since magic is powered by emotions, she decides to just use pain as an emotion to trigger her power, even though Oro told her don't do this ever. And I think she got this idea from the past where she was talking about it with who was it? Grimm? She does it, and then Aura finds her and is like, don't ever do that again. And she explains to us that she will do it again because the blood tasted like power, she wanted to say. Power? It tastes like blood. That being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. That's it. That's how the book ends. We still have a bunch of more things to discuss, but I'm really tired and this is truly like draining all of my energy. So I'll get back to you tomorrow and continue. Don't worry. You'll find out how this ends. First of all, let's address the new elephant in the room. I finally found the button on the camera. For some reason it was zoomed in the entire time and I couldn't figure out why. I pressed a button. So now we're zoomed out. Tell me which one you like better. I think this is better. Other than that, I've been up since 5 a.m. and I'm feeling a little bit delirious, so we should wrap this up. What did we talk about last? I don't remember. I literally just edited that. I don't remember what I said. I have to say, Nightbane was a complete fever dream for me. Iron Flame was also a fever dream. This one even more so. Like, at least I remember some things from Iron Flame. This? Let's talk about an easy sentence to get back into it. I'll read it out to you. Isla fell to her knees. Next. As I said, she falls to her knees repeatedly. And I just cannot take that sentence seriously for the life of me, I'm sorry. Also, they figure out more and more about the sword that I mentioned, the one that controls the monsters. And that sword, they are looking for it in the past, and so whenever she has a new memory and she unlocks something, some knowledge about it, she immediately tells everybody else. And they just assume that they must have found it in the past and that Grimm has it right now and is controlling the monsters to attack them. We also get the title reveal of the book. It's called Nightbane. Oh. What the fuck am I saying? We get the title, we know the title, we get the reveal of why it's called Nightbane, and that is because in Nightshade, because with her Starstick in the past, Isla used to visit Grimm in his realm multiple times, and then she also went onto a market there and found a drug that took all pain away, and it's called Nightbane, and that is why the book is called Nightbane. And at some point he also says to her, you used to be the bane of my existence, but you are now not the bane of my existence anymore. I don't know how he says it, but something along those lines. She's remembering having sex with Grimm. We're still in a YA, okay? Keep that in mind. You know, I really like this dress, he murmured, but it's in my way. He ripped it right down the center. Stitches broke, fabric was torn. Fuck you. I fucking hate when they rip apart clothing. You know how fucking expensive that is? And this is not the first time he does it. It's like his new shtick, his gimmick. The next time they fuck, he also rips the dress apart. And then she's like, you're ripping all of my clothes apart. And he says, I'll just buy you new ones. What if I really like this one? Oh yeah, this is their first sex scene. And I'm so sorry to tell you, I don't know whether they even fucked, or if she came, or if he came, or if anybody came. He swallowed her final moans with his mouth and pulled her into him, lifting her to his chest with a hand against her lower back. He held her closely, so closely. Only minutes later did he set her down. Huh? So what happened? What happened? She is saying her final moans, but that could also just because they're done. If you want to have a sex scene in a YA book and make it explicit on page, at least tell me if she had an orgasm. That's the last thing you can do. Or do you say it's the least thing you can do? I think that's the right thing. Sorry. At this point, I don't know how far in we are. Oh my god, I'm so sorry guys. We're 81% in. I'm sorry, okay? Because everything that happens in this book is her remembering shit from the past that we don't give a fuck about, and then them in the present, again, her just going to magical creatures on the island being like, I am the wildling ruler, will you stand with me? And they're like, bitch, we don't even know your fucking name! And then they do join in the final battle at the end, of course, but it was dragging on and on. She calls him with her magic necklace. Oh my god, guys. This book gets so unhinged at the end. She has this magical necklace from him that nobody can see, and she can't see it either. She can only feel it, and she cannot take it off. She doesn't know why she can't take it off, but because she's tried. But at this point, 81% into the book, she's like, you know what? I have this thing with which I can summon Grimm at any given moment and just literally ask him like what the fuck he's thinking he's doing. Just, you know, just to ask. And she remembers this over 80% into the book. So she pulls the necklace and he appears as promised. He then tells her, by the way, I took your people, the wildling people, from the island, and they weren't on Lightlark, but just wherever the fuck they live. And I put them onto Nightshade. And she's like, excuse me? And he's like, I didn't force them. They wanted to come. And she's like, I don't understand how anyone would want to come to you, even though she did come for him. So I don't know how that makes sense. He also tells her that he didn't send the monsters, which we would have known much earlier if she just pulled the fucking necklace. He essentially tells her nothing. He says, the starlings are on my side. No, not starlings. The skylings? No. Yeah, I don't know. Some other bitches are on his side. They joined his side, and he also took the wildlings onto his realm, and he didn't send the monsters, and he doesn't really tell her anything. She also doesn't really ask any questions. She's just kind of accusing him the entire time. At this point, like, I just didn't know what was going on anymore, and quite frankly, with the way this book ends, I also don't really know, like, plot-wise and world-building-wise, where we are at. But I also... Guys, you know what I'm gonna say. I don't care. No, I'm not. I warned everyone here, which is more than they deserve. They can either leave or join us. It is their choice. No one has to die. He's so good. Shut up! I remember, guys, very randomly, 85% into the book, you know what this... Oh my god. They, in the past, get the sword, and the sword was guarded by a fucking dragon, okay? Do you think that she thought of that before or after Fourth Wing came out? Doesn't matter. What does matter is the fact that she steals an egg from the dragon, and then, in the past, remembers that she has a pet dragon with Grimm. Huh? Do you think they made her include that? Because this has no relevance to anything. It's offhandedly mentioned, basically. Do you think they made her include that because they were like, can you see how Fourth Wing is going through the roof? If you include dragons in your book, you're gonna get more sales? Even if the dragon has no relevance? By the end of the book, we're getting most of the sex scenes, of course. For example, with Grimm, we get another one from the past. Grimm swallowed. I'm not gentle, he said gruffly. Isla opened her mouth, closed it. The thought of him not being gentle, it unexplainably made her feel hot everywhere. Could you be? He hesitated, then nodded. This man's cock cannot be tamed. You cannot tame the beast. Be gentle? Fuck that. I mean, girl. What do you mean you can't be gentle? Is it that? Huh? Honestly, maybe this is like the first time they actually fuck when they're talking about how his penis can't be tamed. He says to her, Heart Eater, you're both cursed, ... and cure. Cringe. Hours later, she woke up sprawled on top of Grimm. Her cheek was against his chest. One of his arms was wrapped around her. The other was hanging off the bed. The things they had done in this bed, ... You think they did anal? We get this line, Isla whipped around and nearly dropped to the floor. So thankful. Infinitely grateful that she didn't again drop to her knees. That it was only almost dropping to her knees. But you know, she's teasing it. It's gonna happen again. And then at 91% in, she remembers the past again because Grimm had actually told her about everything possible in this fucking world in the past, but since she didn't have any memories, she didn't remember it, obviously. So I'm just gonna read this out to you, and you can decide for your own if this makes sense to you or not, because, you know, Lightlark is a miniature, Grimm said. The creators of the island fled a world made up of different countries. Moonling to the very north, buried in the ice. Sunling at the center, where the sun shined brightest. Wildling close by. Which direction? We don't know. Skyling, then Starling, then Nightshade at the opposite end. What's in the fucking west and east? At the opposite end, where it was darkest and coldest. They took thousands here to another world and created... She's doing her own fucking multiverse. I'm so sorry. This is so ridiculous. To another world and created a smaller version of the one they left behind. She had never heard of that. It sounded impossible. Cronin, my own ancestor, wanted to go back after he was cast out from Lightlark, but the portal is built into its foundation. Using it successfully would mean destroying the island. Why doesn't anyone know about this? She demanded. Only the ancient creatures remained from that world. Over time, the information was lost, but not by Nightshade, of course not. Though my people never attempted to try to seek out the portal again until I was born. Why? I have the same flair as Cronin. Portaling. The portal doesn't work on its own. It requires someone with my skill. Why would anyone ever want to go back to that other world? I don't, he said. We went to war over the portal, but after the curses, when my father died, I abandoned the search myself. I only needed the sword after the dregs became a problem, which is the creatures, to stop them. Does anyone else know about the portal? Only one other ruler that I know of. Cleo. She is ... very interested in using it. Why would she want that? I don't know, he said. This just keeps going on and on. She wants to go to that world for some reason. You won't do it though, will you? No. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. The portal is in the Wildling Palace on Lightlark. Only a Wildling ruler can open it. Which means full circle back to the beginning, which is the first thing that I mentioned, that she was trying to open this fuck-ass palace door in the basement, like this bunker, and it slammed closed again. And she does eventually manage to open it, but this memory literally comes after she opens. Or did it? Yeah, it comes right after she opens the portal, and then she remembers that he told her this, and he's like, don't ever open the portal, it will destroy the whole entire island. And she literally just opened the portal. And then he also reveals why he needed her to find the sword and he couldn't do it himself. I needed you to use your flair to break the curse on the sword, he said. It was an ancient curse. Breaking it would have either killed you on the spot or significantly shortened your life. The thing is, if it's revealed that Isla cannot be cursed, it means that none of the curses that were in place ever applied to her, and also that curses put on other objects don't apply to her either. So her touching the sword, I think, means that the curse of the sword is gone. So now, what's his name, Grimm can use it, because there was a curse on it that the Nightshade ruler couldn't use it. But since she got the sword, that means he can now use it because the curse is gone, but that also means that her life is now shortened. And then she's really mad at him because she's like, okay, you only did this because you wanted me dead, because you didn't care for me. He's like, well, it's different now. Now we've had sex and your pussy is too good. But she's really mad at him. But they make up, don't worry. Then, I think, how far are, we're 92% in. She remembers that the Oracle told her to come back at a later date and talk to her. And so 92% in, she remembers this. Wildling, she said, you need to understand the future is split in half. There are two possibilities, not one greater than the other. I see you choosing each path. It changes almost every minute. What paths? Isla asked. Your heart decides the future of the world. Your choice decides. What choice? She practically screamed. Guess the choice. Oro and Grimm. Isla froze at their mention. You will kill one of them. That much is certain. Which one lives and which one dies? That has not yet been decided. So what do we think? Who she's gonna kill? I don't think she's gonna kill any of them. She doesn't kill any of them in this book, but I just, you know, either she's gonna kill the knockoff Reese or the boring ass sugar daddy ass, bitch ass king. She's probably gonna find a way to not kill either of them. Let's be this is YA. Now the war has arrived, guys. It's very dramatic. She's fighting on top of Clifford, the big red dog. She's riding on his back and fighting against all of these attackers who are attacking the island. But just so you can get a better understanding of what's going on, I'll read a little line to you. Her energy was drained. She fell to her knees. So, next. I wasn't lying when I told you guys that she keeps falling to her knees. You thought I was lying. I wasn't. This is literally what it says. Bitch, get up. Get the fuck up. This is getting ridiculous. Then Oro and Grimm meet, and they're obviously the most powerful, and so they start fighting each other. And Oro at some point was like, oh, you know what, just kill me. Like, if I'm gonna die, it's gonna be fine. You can just rule. I don't really know what he said, honestly, but they start fighting, and I imagined it to be like on a bridge, and she's just kind of standing there watching, like the emoji, like the woman standing, just like watching them and not really doing anything, because she really doesn't do anything. And then we get the unhinged end of the book, because, you know, her falling to her knees the last time is 95% in, so there's only 5% left in the book. What could potentially happen? You will never fucking guess it. Grimm reveals that Isla is bound to him. What this means, I don't know. In the past, Isla had died, and to resurrect her, Grimm had bound his life to Isla's life. So as long as either of them lives, the other one's gonna live. And so Oro can't kill him now in the war fight, the cringe fight. Grimm also says that the other world offers a permanent solution, because in the other world that is opened through the portal, souls can be risen. That was the reason for this war. That was what that was the reason for all this death. He wanted to open the portal to save her life. And then she tells Oro, just kill him, bitch. Like, I'm ready to die. I don't even want to rule anything anyway. Because she keeps thinking in her head, like, I don't want to be a ruler. So she's like, you know what, just fucking commit. The whole reason she was kind of spurting this war on was because she had this one vision of people being dead and killed by darkness and shadows and children dying, and in this very moment, 98% in, she realizes that that was not a vision of the future, what would come, what Grimm would bring to the island, but rather it was the vision of when she died in the past, that she caused all of that destruction and she died. So the whole plot just is kind of based on her not remembering correctly. Oh my god, guys, and if you can guess what I'm gonna read out next, it's not her falling to her knees. And you really deserve a star, because when I was reading this, I was just giggling. No, honestly, I was straight up laughing. And not in like a, haha, this is so cute or funny way, but in like a, what the fuck am I reading way? Like, this is truly what I'm investing my time in. She would kill him. One day she would be overcome with emotion, she would lose control yet again, and she would kill him. She saw it so clearly now. Let me go, she bellowed, her voice thick, tears falling into her mouth. She tried to wrestle herself away, but Oro didn't budge. He didn't understand. He didn't know how much of a danger she was to him. Grimm's voice seemed to rumble the world as he said, "Let go of my wife." Let go of my wife. And she sees like the necklace thing. In Nightshade, instead of rings, we give necklaces, which is ass in my opinion. I should have given this to you before. It's a sign of our commitment. Once I put it on, it isn't forever. Only with your death will it be released. And then before putting it on her, he deleted all of her memories right before the fucking Hunger Games from Wish started in the first book. And then during that, he gave her the necklace. And she didn't obviously know what it meant. Whatever. So the reveal is at the end that she had died in the past and killed a bunch of people, and she's married to Grimm. The way the book ends, I'll read out the last paragraph to you, is just so... I'm really over it, you know, I really want to get it over with. Because once I finish this video, I'm never going to think about this book again. Except if Mrs. Astor keeps coming up on my For You page. So before Grimm could portal them to Nightshade, she turned and said... She literally opened the portal, by the way, like, just gonna leave him there? So before Grimm could portal them to Nightshade, she turned and said, "I love you, Oro." She closed her eyes tightly, felt tears sweep down. She took Grimm's hand. "But I love him too." And because of his flair, he knew it was true. Done. What am I supposed to say about this, guys? I mean, I don't know how much she's planning for this series. I'm assuming a trilogy, maybe a quartet. I would suggest to just leave it at that. So whenever you see people saying, "Oh my god, I need the next book, please. When is the next book coming out? Are you working on it already? I can't wait." Just remember that they're asking this because they genuinely don't know what's gonna happen in this fuck-ass love triangle. Guys, please, let's be serious right now. She's gonna get with Grimm. She's gonna be with Grimm. Oro's maybe gonna die if she actually has the balls to do it. I don't think so, though. I don't think she's gonna kill him. She's gonna find a solution. He's gonna live happily ever after. And honestly, if she does kill him off, slay. But that is what she really wanted to write. She really wanted to write, "I love you, but I love him too. I want to have a threesome." Maybe that way you could fix everything. I do not feel any of the connections between any of the characters. I don't think that Oro is interestingly written. She didn't do a good job in the first book setting up their love story to a point where me, like a lot of people, me included, were confused at the end when it was like, oh, she's in love with Oro. Everyone was like, when? So I think she didn't really make up for that in this book. She keeps saying enemies to lovers, villain gets the girl. So guys, let me know if you read this book, what you thought of it. I mean, you watched a very long video now of someone talking about the book, but if you really go within yourself and think about what do I remember from what she told me about the plot, you will probably find that you don't remember anything because there was essentially nothing going on. The things that were going on were dragging on, and they were just done so uninterestingly that I was losing my mind. All of my energy has just left my body. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you enjoyed Bookmas too. If you were here for all of Bookmas, thank you so much. Thank you again to all of my members, everyone who's just watching and supporting me. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break just because doing 12 days of videos was a lot, but I still have some videos planned for this month, so there's definitely something coming. But if you don't hear anything from me for a few days, you know, don't worry. I'm just sleeping. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you stay happy, you stay healthy. No, again. I hope you stay happy, you stay healthy, peace and love, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.